there was a chap, and I picked up on this. His name's Cole Hennigan, and he is the director, evidence-based medicine at Oxford University. He's the creme de la creme in his field, basically. And he published a study that was from Denmark, and the Danish, along with the UK, are the sort of mavericks within COVID-19 and the testing that they've been done. He showed a study on and put it on his Facebook to say that mask wearing actually doesn't work.
No.
And there's no actual scientific evidence to say that it does. This isn't some Tom, Dick and Harry. This isn't a conspiracy theorist. This is a professor at Oxford University who is actually the top of his game in the field. And Facebook removed it. Facebook removed his post because they were saying that it was incorrect. And that's what it's come to. I think that there's a narrative here. And I think this thing is very organic, and it's changed from the start. When they said masks didn't work, now masks do work. But for some reason, if it's not supporting that we're being fucking locked up and we're not doing this, and it questions that, then they don't want to hear it.
No.
And I'm speaking. I'm speaking for the people that are stuck at home, the people that have got mental health issues, the people that are suffering and are lonely, and that's the people I'm speaking for. And I'm fucking angry because these young, healthy people, these just want to live a normal life.
Yeah.
They just want to live a normal life again, and they're not being able to do it. And I think now it's for unfair reasons. I don't think it's right.
No.
What they're doing.
But then I can sort of understand why there are so many conspiracy theorists around it, because if you take COVID out of the equation and just look at what it's caused, which is huge mental health issues, huge unemployment, which then equals to mental health issues.
Well, sorry to carry on, Mo. Sorry, because I picked up, and it would go perfect with that. I picked up on a study with mental health that's actually recently been done by a professor.
Go on.
And it's by Alex Kwong. And it's a new study at Bristol University to show that basically mental health issues have doubled.
Yeah.
They've doubled. And that's a study that's been done.
And yet not one study done on what sort of effect mental health has on a child when they've spent the last 6 months off of school. Yeah. And now God knows how much longer they're going to have off school. We've not been told not to contact, don't hug relatives, don't go round Nan's house, don't speak to your friends, hum a Christmas tune, don't speak with your mouth open, don't sing happy birthday to your friends on their birthday. It's only little things, but it has an effect. We're then being told, don't trust your neighbours. If you see 4 people going around there, give us a call. Yeah. I've known that neighbour for 20 years, grass that fucker up. Don't do this. If you can ever imagine a country more divided, it's now.
And you need to look at the implementations that's creating that. And again, social media is a pit for these things.
Cesspit.
And you see memes, and I see a meme on social media, and what it was don't blame Boris, blame this. And it was the guy protesting outside with a face mask on, outside in the street, protesting his rights. And these people don't realise what they're doing, and they'll shoot themselves in the foot, I tell you, because if you don't want to have the right to protest this and lockdown and what's going on, then you need your brains testing, because the data is there. And if the government's got a secret dossier that they're not giving us the figures, and again, it's the same situation as the NHS. If they showed us the damage, that's saying, look, these are the figures here. We're asking for the figures of what lockdown's causing and what down the line damage it's going to do in regards to poverty and killing people. If they showed us, no, hold on, it's not going to do that. These are the figures. These are the studies. That would put me in line, and I would hold my hands up and say I'm wrong. I'll hold my hands up, even though the press has come out there and they showed us the studies that have gone into it and said, what we're doing isn't going to cause more deaths down the line, isn't going to cause poverty, isn't going to cause mass damage, or we're going to end up saving more lives by doing what we're doing now. And you go back to the vested interests that the government have got. Matt Hancock, the fake crier. I don't know whether you've ever seen. Did you see him trying? I mean, you couldn't. When you look at someone and you completely tell that they're the most disingenuous person by trying to fake a tear.
Yeah,
that is him in a nutshell. He is so fake and unrelatable, a typical politician.
Yeah,
and his old buddy that was a pub landlord.
Yeah,
that then turned into a PPE maker, had £1 million fucking contract. What's going on?
Well, that's the thing, is that me personally, and I'm not speaking for anybody else, is that I'm sure there are a lot of people like me that will sit there and go, right, this is more than COVID. This is more than a pandemic, as far as I said to you just after Christmas when we spoke on the phone, that a week before Christmas, I watched a breakfast television program, which they had a doctor on, and they were taking questions for general public. And one of the questions from the general public was, I want Christmas dinner with my family. I've had a COVID test. My brother's had a COVID test. My wife's had a COVID test, and her brother's had a COVID test. All come back negative. Can they come round to my house for Christmas dinner? And the answer was no, because the test that you can go and get at Boots, which are £100 and something, £130, £140, are only 75% positive, are only 75% accurate, sorry. Yeah. So then you sit back and then you go, well, if they're only 75% accurate and they don't mean anything, then why am I allowed to go and fucking buy one? Why am I allowed to go and buy one if I can't be near my family? The whole point of having a test so you're not positive is so I'm okay. I've been tested. I can go and see them. But it still doesn't make a difference.
I mean, you look at Boris Johnson, and as they were trying to implement the mass testing, that I'll get onto that after, that he said, do the track and trace app as well. And he was around someone that had COVID-19 the second time. Obviously, he'd contracted COVID-19 and went to hospital. And I think it was about 3 months ago. He had COVID, and he said he'd been in contact, and he got the track and trace app to say he needs to be locked down.
Yeah.
So obviously, he sat in on questions in Parliament, in the House of Commons, from home on Zoom or whatever, and it's just I looked at it, and you just think, what complete and utter bollocks. There's been one case in the world of someone contracting coronavirus twice.
Yeah.
One case. And you can pretty much tell that probably was bollocks anyway. And he would have got tested as well. So he wasn't politicising it. He wasn't trying to bum up the track and trace app by sticking to that. I mean, this is the type of people we're dealing with. And anyone that thinks that the government is there and they're there to provide us with law, provide us with legislation in order to live a normal life. But I'm sorry, it's got to a situation now where I believe they're letting us down. And I'll get onto the second point, which was mass testing. And the way that they were incrementally changing it after the first lockdown and putting the mass testing into local authorities and say, okay, we're going to look at England nationally. And the areas that are more severe than others, we're going to lock them down. We're going to introduce mass testing into them boroughs. We're going to isolate them people. And then we're going to introduce the testing like the other nations done. Yeah. Like Singapore. Although they have far less population, and it's a lot more difficult easier to isolate. I'm not saying that, but Japan done the same thing, and now they're successful, and they've overturned it.
Yeah, it's all gone now.
They're not having any issues there.
No.
China is a totalitarian state. They can't be judged on that. They were locking people up, well, China's another issue, and that can go on. But in our own nation dealing with COVID-19, mass testing is the reason that failed mass testing is the reason that we keep being locked up, because they didn't isolate the virus. They didn't introduce the mass testing and it failed. That's the reason. And it seems that 1 minute they're doing everything's so reactive. Nothing's proactive. And this is why I believe that these lockdowns are just a reactive, to the virus, a reactive formation. Then they're not trying to proactively deal with it. That's why I don't think they're looking into the economical point of view. And I'm not an expert, but if I had the data provided to me, I would hold my hands up. I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
No, but you can ask questions.
I can ask questions of my government.
Which makes you a conspiracy theorist.
Exactly. You question the narrative, and you're a conspiracy theorist now. You're tarred with a person that's wants a microchip in their forearm or something. It's how ridiculous it's got. But again, that's how conspiracy theorist was designed. Yeah. They designed the law. It was done by the American government during the Kennedy assassination.
But don't get me wrong. Going back to a conspiracy, I don't think it's a conspiracy theory to say, oh, everyone's going, let's wait for the vaccines, let's get these vaccines in. Come on, give us them vaccines, and then it's our first step back to normal. But why shouldn't you sit back and question and go, well, a vaccine normally takes 12 to 13, maybe 14 years to come up with a vaccine, and we've developed it in 13 months. How do we know that's safe to take? That's not a conspiracy theory. That's a question.
That's a question, and I must admit that I certainly had... I was a bit concerned by it, because you started to see, and then they said pregnant women can't take it. Now they're saying people with allergic reactions can't take it. Well, they didn't say that before.
No, they didn't.
They said it once people started getting vaccinated, and this is the problem that you're going to have when trying to roll out a vaccine. Yep. Now, I'm not saying, I've had my yellow fever. I've been around Africa. I've had my yellow fever vaccination. I've had hepatitis, diphtheria, the lot. I've been vaccinated. But rolling out a vaccine after a year, when you look at it, it is worrying. But again, you have to rely on the experts and things like that.
Of course you do. But there have been, there have been so many to mention in the past where people have been getting injections of vaccines, and then look at the terrible fucking health ramifications that have led off the back of that because it come too quickly.
Well, you don't know. It could be... Again, surmising, and I'm not an
It's just a question.
It's not an expertise. I wish someone would fucking respond to me and talk to me about it. It'd be fantastic if we could get an expert in. But again, it's many different experts talking about many different things. An epidemiologist, virologist could cover that also. But yeah, definitely had concerns with it. And you'd only be a human being to have a concern. But I mean, would you have it?
No, I wouldn't.
Why?
Because I want to see how many people get ill from it first.
It's true though.
There's already been 5 cases of people that had it that got Bell's palsy within 48 hours. Bell's palsy numbs one side of your face.
Is that fact?
That's a fact, because I saw a bloke talking about it on the news. It's the news, but they were talking to a guy there, and he said it went after a day, and that's when they looked into it further, and then they said, it was an allergic reaction with an infection that already he had in his nasal passage that then brought on a Bell's palsy. And then they were like, well, let's look at this. It might have to do. But again, that to me is not good enough, because I wasn't told about it beforehand. I was told after people suffered from it. That, oh no, if you've got any allergic reaction, what does that mean? I get hay fever. Does that mean I can have it? Does that mean I can't? It's not enough just by saying allergic reaction. I know it sounds stupid, but I've not been... It just said, if you suffer any allergies, best not have it. What's that? Allergies to what? Peanuts? It doesn't make sense. It's the same as... I'll tell you a bullshit story that never happened. This story never happened, all right? This is a made-up story. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. This is not true. I told you, I knew someone that got a test through the post, opened it, didn't touch it, sent it back, and then they said that you tested positive, and they didn't touch that whatsoever. Now, for that one person that's got that and went, I never even bloody done anything to it, and then they're telling me that I've tested positive for COVID, that person's then going to go, well, that's it for that person. This is all bullshit. This is absolute bollocks.
It is, yeah. Because
you're right, is what you're saying is there's not enough answers for questions. I've been told that my daughter can't go to school, but then 2 miles down the road there's another school that's opened, but I know people in my area are going to that other fucking school. So where's the science behind that stupid situation?
I think the education system is so mixed up and complexed at the moment. I feel sorry for sort of head teachers and
of course, because they're only told to do it by a poxy government.
And it is very important, but And then you look at the way the virus spreads in education settings. You can get a graph up now, actually, because...
boom.
Graph. That'd be good if you edited that. I don't know how it's going to come out, but it'd be a graph.
Lightning come out my fingers. Graph.
But it says in education settings, that's where COVID spreads.